when Lord Krishna came to this conditioned plane, out of his own transcendental power, with his full spiritual potency, in order to reveal his supreme nature of Satchit Ananda Vigraha, eternal knowledge, consciousness, and bliss, to all the conditioned souls, so that they might be attracted to him, and so that they might come out of the miseries of material existence and of ignorance. At this particular time in the world, it is very much necessary that all people hear about Krishna, and that they should become attracted to chanting the name of Krishna, to hearing about Krishna's wonderful pastimes, so that by this exquisite attraction for Krishna, they might forget their lower desires, which are now leading everybody to a hellish condition of life, in which it seems inevitable there are going to be wars and pestilences and starvation, diseases, all kinds of social injustice. All these things are unavoidable so long as the world at large does not understand who owns everything, who owns the land, who owns the money, who owns the food. So long as they don't understand that Krishna is the owner, enjoyer of everything, so long as they don't understand that it is the highest enjoyment for the living soul to serve Krishna, it is a perfect harmony of his condition to serve Krishna, so long they will be fighting due to ignorant and deluded cross purposes. This International Society for Krishna Consciousness movement is meant for spreading the Krishna consciousness to the whole world, so that people might realize their spiritual existence, and so that the whole atmosphere of the world could become spiritualized with chanting the names of Krishna. So we welcome everybody who comes to this temple to inquire about how to make your life perfect by tuning in to the desires of the Supreme Lord Krishna. You'll find that this is such a pleasant proposition that all insignificant lower desires will be forgotten. There will not be any need for unnecessary fighting among the people of the world if they can only understand the spiritual plane of Krishna consciousness. The way to realize Krishna consciousness is very simple. Simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chant this Mahamantra under the guidance of the spiritual master, and the results will be very quick. Thank you very much.
Goes on that.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Janslakaya Chakshur Militandena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. This mantra is another form of obeisance to the spiritual master, and the meaning is that I, who is standing in darkness with my eyes sealed, now offer my obeisances unto my spiritual master, who has forced me to open my eyes. He's forced me to open my eyes with this torchlight of knowledge which he's bearing. So, therefore, my spiritual master is my master. He can give me the actual knowledge of my position, my position as an existing entity. And that perfection of understanding my position is understanding Krishna, or the supremely perfect entity. Krishna is perfect existence, the perfect being. And as such, his existence is the greatest certainty of all. In one syllogism, or one comparison that I could give, I could say that how can a shadow of my hand exist unless my hand exists? The point is, how can these individual entities exist except as the shadow of the perfect entity God? Of course, we can understand from the Bhagavad Gita or Vedic literatures that living entities are atomic particles of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such they reflect the potencies of that Supreme Person. So because Krishna has personality, and because Krishna has individuality, we have individuality. Krishna's existence, because he's perfect, is the most certain. Imperfect existence has no meaning. Our existence has no meaning except as reference, in reference to Krishna's existence. We haven't even got the power to conserve our own existence. Or in other words, we can't understand how we're existing. We can understand in some diluted manner that we're feeding our bodies and so on. We can have some sort of knowledge of ritual, but we don't actually know what we are and what the ritual is, why we're performing it. So getting beneath the actual ritual of daily life by this process of revealed or transcendental ritual taught by the spiritual master, then we can realize the real importance or the real striking features of our own existence. Again, I want to come back to this point. Krishna's existence is the most certain. Sometimes people have the idea that they can debate whether Krishna exists or not. They can do that as long as they want to close their own eyes or keep their own brains, their own minds clouded by so many extraneous factors. Actually, Krishna's existence is the most certain. We can go through many so-called proofs or logical proofs simply because that fact is already established. I might give one or two. We can understand in our mundane logic that if something exists, that there's some reason for its existence. And similarly, if something does not exist, that there's some reason for that. Just as we can say, well, something exists. For example, the harmonium exists because somebody has made that harmonium. Or a circle exists on the wall because somebody's drawn that circle on the wall. But on the other hand, a square circle does not exist because that existence would involve a contradiction, or that would be absurd. So, for anything which exists, there must be a reason. And for anything which does not exist, then there is a reason why it does not exist. Now, Krishna's existence, therefore, is most certain because any reason which could deny Krishna's existence is impossible to be found. Krishna means he is the all-inclusive entity. Therefore, any reason which could prevent Krishna's existence would have to be either external to his own divine nature or in his own nature. Now, nothing can be outside of Krishna's all-inclusiveness. Therefore, no external agent can prevent Krishna's existence. And it is again self-contradictory to attribute any imperfection to the perfect being. Therefore, the conclusion is that Krishna necessarily exists because no one can prevent his existence. By definition, God is the perfect entity. So, just as we've seen, that existence of Krishna cannot be checked, and actually nobody can prove that Krishna does not exist, neither can they prevent him from existing. This is sort of an indirect way to prod you to think about the position that you're in now. People become very proud because they have some material opulence or material knowledge, and they tend to think that they are self-sufficient. But actually, we're dependent upon so many things. For example, we are just taking it for granted that our bodies will remain unmutilated by various forces in nature, when actually at any moment the bodies could be totally destroyed. And even granted that our bodies will be with us for some time in operable condition, this field of our activities has many laws which we're dependent upon, just as the other day we were discussing the law of gravity. This idea of laws in nature necessarily implies the existence of the lawmaker. And this can be demonstrated very easily in many, many ways. We'll take the law of gravity again. If some object in nature which has no consciousness behaves in a regulated manner, then it's obvious that it's under the control of a law, if we call it a law. For example, if an apple drops from a tree, the apple is obeying the law of gravity. The apple does not know the law of gravity. Therefore, that law is being enforced by some superior entity. In our dealings in society, people know laws, still they don't obey them. They have to be forced to obey the laws, and still people disobey the law. But the laws of nature are so perfectly enforced that nobody can disobey. Just a little thought will make this a little bit more clear to anyone. So there are twofold implications, namely law proceeds from lawmaker, law enforcement proceeds from law enforcer. Man has tried so hard to establish law and order. Law and order is already there in this existence which he's now facing. I think that we don't need to consider any more on these points just now. The main point, or the main information which we're considering now, is that by understanding Krishna's existence, understanding Krishna's appearance before the perception of ourselves, that we can terminate this material existence which we now face. This life we're now conscious of through these bodies which were born. Now these bodies were very small, and they've developed to impressive size. The bodies will dwindle and the bodies will be gone, ultimately lost. But all these living entities here in the room will go on existing. This process of birth and death we should understand, and we should especially understand how Krishna appears before us who are trapped by birth and death. If we understand that Krishna's appearance is not like ours, because he's perfect and because simply he's appearing for our benefit, then we may be able to reach out and grab hold of the lifeline that can of our own suicidal bogs. So anyway, everybody has been coming here knows that we're recommending simply associate with us, chant with us, and listen to the teachings of our spiritual master. Put questions to us, any questions. And at this point, I'd also like to invite questions. Is there any questions?
Let him. Mukunda.
Mukunda probably speak.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances to our spiritual master, Swami Bhaktivedanta, who is dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter until his lotus feet. The Krishna consciousness movement is intended to make a solution to our everyday problems. It's not a kind of place where people just come because there's some religious rites being performed. But everyone in this age is thinking that I am free, and actually I am not free. I am very bound up, very strictly bound up by the stringent laws of nature. In every status of life, I have to serve somebody or something or my own body. In every status of life, I have to serve my wife, or I have to serve my children, I have to serve my pet, I have to serve my work, my boss, my associates. If I'm very wealthy, very elevated, or very beautiful physically, if I'm born in an aristocratic family, I always have to serve somebody. If nothing else, one has to serve one's own stomach. I have to eat. I have to get food. I have to serve my stomach. So I'm not free at all. I have to do these things. There's no way I can stop. If I don't eat, I'll die. So our natural position as a living entity is that we have to serve something. Every living entity has to serve. That's our natural position. If something is wrong with my hand and I want to be cured, I don't grab onto some foodstuffs or some medicine, some herbs, and squeeze it with the hand and think that this hand is going to be cured. I take the medicine or the food through my mouth, and then it circulates through the digestive system and through the veins, and finally comes to the hand and can work its cure. So the hand, unless it's serving its source, then it's useless. The servant must serve its master, or the part must serve the whole. And our relationship with God is the same. Just like the hand is made out of bile, blood, and air, flesh and bone, as all the body is, so similarly we're made out of spirit. Qualitatively the same as Krishna, but quantitatively many millions of times less. Qualitatively the same, and quantitatively different. A fragmental portion. So if we fragmental portions, separated parts and parcels, can serve the source or the whole, then we can be cured of this material disease, which is rampant nowadays. And this is possible only by mercy. By mercy alone, we can transcend this material existence and know that I am part and parcel of the Supreme, Krishna, or God, and I can erase all of my karma and situate myself in pure consciousness. But this consciousness cannot be purified unless there is mercy. And in this age, Kali Yuga, as we know, mercy is diminished to being almost non-existent. And Kali Yuga is just beginning. So, if we can get some information about what I am, what is my position, and what is God, and how am I related to God, what is this world, then we're very fortunate. So by the mercy of the spiritual master, we can free ourselves from these stringent laws of nature and these unbreakable bonds. And only in this way. We can't free ourselves superficially or by our own mental invention. We can't just go out and sit and think and free ourselves from this material existence. We must be subject to our own bodily discomforts, and our own mind. And we must be subject to the actions upon us of other living entities. And we must be subject to the laws of nature, to providence, to pestilence, famine, catastrophe. But if we can accept and hear submissively this teaching of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita from the bona fide spiritual master, then we are freed. Immediately, we are in Vaikuntha. So we're very shocked and astonished that so many people are coming to the West, to the United States, and posing as holy men and simply making business, charging money, and giving somebody some magical formula whereby they can become God in half of a year. And so many people who are sincere seekers are being deluded, and this is very unfortunate. There's said to be two classes of men. One class of men is satisfied with his existence. He goes from one pleasure to another, from the cinema to the restaurant, to sports, from one to the other. I can't wait to finish one, to go to the next. And still he's saying that I'm happy, I'm satisfied. And there's another class of men that is not satisfied. These men are searching, that there is always something on his mind. He's thinking, there must be something behind all of this, that I can look at all of this as a unified whole. So this first class of men will not want to take to spiritual knowledge. But the person who is inquisitive and is not satisfied with this material life, he can hear this knowledge submissively and derive great benefit from it. The symptom of a human being is that he is not satisfied. He's disgusted. He's searching. The symptom of animal life is that he is satisfied, taking everything. That's very nice. Everything is fine. Like a hog eating stool. He's thinking, oh, it's very nice. But the human being will not accept such awful things. The human being has the chance to get out of this shackle of continued, repeated births and deaths. So simply by hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and the names of Krishna diligently, submissively, and from the bona fide source, we can immediately get some relief from this material existence. Just like when we were chanting here, you could feel some ecstasy. Well, this ecstasy grows unlimitedly and infinitely, eternally, if one takes to it. It's not as if you reach some point of enlightenment and then you're enlightened. No. But it's always eternal, ever increasing. Just like the relationship between ourselves and our spiritual master is eternal and ever increasing. Our relationship with God is the same. So please try to realize that this is a very serious movement, and we're not asking you to sign up or pay us anything. It's simply to sincerely try it, and you'll immediately feel some benefit. Thank you.
I am offering my repeated humble obeisances unto my spiritual preceptor, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Please try to understand that everything that we are learning here in Krishna consciousness is received through the ears. And unless one does not listen submissively, one cannot hear transcendental message. This is the opening of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It states that at the reading of the Srimad Bhagavat, the forest of Nimesharanya, many sages were present, and it was so quiet that at the dropping of a pin could be heard on the sand. So the science of Krishna consciousness must be received submissively. Our spiritual preceptor has brought Krishna consciousness to the Western world in the hopes that the people here will sincerely take to this process of practicing bhakti yoga, or the yoga of devotional service and love unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. This is not a sect. This is for peoples of the world who understand one premise, that I am not this body, I am pure spirit soul. That this body is simply a dress, just like you wear clothes. But what is it that keeps you alive, that is eternal? This is spirit soul. This is so simple that even a child at the age of 5 years can understand this. If it's from a bona fide source, he can understand this. We are requesting to you that you please come to the classes of the Bhagavad. Come to Kirtan. By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you at once are elevated into the spiritual platform, and our contaminated material senses may become purified simply because of this association of the names of God. These names are absolute. They're not material. If you chant water, 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 your thirst will not be quenched. But if you cry, Krishna, 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 you may find your position in this world, where you came from. Why are you here? What are you doing? Where are you going? These questions man must answer, or he is not making use of his ability as man. He is simply living an animal life, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. It does not matter if you are a man, you are a woman, you are a child, you are Indian, you are American. You simply must ask these questions. And when one comes upon a bona fide source, one must take advantage of that source and not pass it up. Krishna consciousness, or the classes of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, are open to all, and we invite you to please come. Chant Hare Krishna. Feel the sublime ecstasy. Thank you very much. Are there any questions?
You can speak.
there are so many religions. There's Hindu, there's Christian, there's Jewish, Mohammedan, so many things. So, and people are professing, oh, I'm Christian, or I'm Hindu, oh, I'm Jewish, so many things. But this religion is not so cheap. This religion is not simply something I take up. I take it, oh, now I think I should be a Christian, that's very nice. Or maybe I'll become Hindu. No. You see these boys and girls, they're not Hindus. They're not Christians. They're not Jews. What are they? Oh, you see the spiritual master. He's not Hindu. You may be thinking, oh, he's from India. And these American or these Canadian boys and girls, they've taken some fad. They like these Indian things. No, it's not like that at all. This is not religion. According to Sanskrit definition, religion means that quality of the living entity which after everything is removed, oh, you can lose all your money, or you can lose your family, or you can lose your nationality, but when everything is removed, that religion remains. So what is that? What is that quality that's common to every living entity? What is that? Just like fire. What is